Welcome back to another episode of Helium Hotspot Help, where we're here to give you guys a guide into your journey into helium mining and into helium crypto and rewards. So anyways, before we go into the details, we're going to go over some of the basics in today's episode and some of the frequently asked questions. I got my man Jake with me today. He's going to help out and talk about what some of these questions are that we've just been getting overloaded with and how we're going to really break this down in the most simplified version for all of our newcomers that are just starting this journey. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into that. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. But with all things being said, I think we should go ahead and look at what some of these questions are. So Jake, what are some of these frequently asked questions we're being bombarded with?
Right on, Al. Well, thanks again for having me on. Really appreciate it. Helium Hotspot Help podcast episode number 2. And I've been getting hit with a lot of basic questions. And instead of answering these questions individually, I feel like we should just go over a few of them. And you know what? They are very basic. Excuse us for those that are more advanced, but the foundation is very important when it comes to something that can be complex. So first questions first, what is the Helium Network and how does the hotspot work and what does it power?
Right. Yeah, a lot of those common questions. And I feel like I get those all the time as well. With Helium it's global. It's a distributed network of hotspots to create public long range wireless coverage for IoT devices. And Jake, I know we've tried to explain IoT devices to people. It's a term we're going to hear a lot about, but we're going to just kind of brief over that for explanatory reasons. But hotspots mine and are rewarded in HNT or Helium token, the native cryptocurrency of the Helium blockchain. The Helium blockchain is an open source public blockchain that incentivizes the creation of physical, decentralized wireless networks. Today, the Helium blockchain and its hundreds of thousands of hotspots deployed by global community provide access to the largest decentralized wireless network in the world. Speaking of the hotspots deployed, Jake, don't we have a big increase in hotspots that just got deployed?
Yeah, we just actually broke the 600,000 hotspot level. So just last week, if you tuned into episode number 1, where we actually did talk about IoT devices, what they are and how they contribute to the blockchain, we were at 592,000 and some change hotspots during that podcast recording. So that was 7 days ago. Right now, we're right around 612 last time I checked. So we've grown 20,000 hotspots in the last 7 days. That's quite remarkable considering that, this is a decentralized wireless network. So built by the people for the people. So,
Wow.
Also, too, what we've been getting asked a little bit about is can we connect our phones or computers to these hotspots?
So, yes. As of early 2022, the community has started to roll out 4G LTE and 5G coverage on the Helium blockchain. So, I would imagine if we're going to 4G LTE and 5G coverage, what would that mean for 3G?
3G is kaput. That's funny you say that. AT&T just announced it's actually been little over a week, February 22nd. If you go on Helium's Twitter page, you can actually find that tweet itself. But AT&T has officially shut down its 3G network. So this is great time for another network to come in. So Al, why don't you explain to us why they call it the People's Network?
Brilliant. One of my favorite things about Helium. So why the Helium Network's called the People's Network is because the people who deploy hotspots build and operate the network. It's powered by them and owned by them. It's created as a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. The people that are mining and the people that own or stake HNT or Helium are the people that make the decisions and control the direction of the project itself. So one of my favorite reasons for being part of the People's Network.
Right on, Al. Definitely. I'm actually gonna pull up that tweet really quickly so we can show all of you that are watching on YouTube. We appreciate you guys on the podcast. If you check out Helium HNT Hotspot H3LP on Twitter, you can actually find this tweet that we've retweeted. So let me just pull this up real quick. And we can see today's the day AT&T is shutting down its 3G network. T-Mobile and Verizon will also leave their 3G customers behind in the coming months. So this is just a trend. This is something that's just beginning to happen. So this is something you guys should be watching. If you're not following Helium on Twitter, you should make sure you do that, along with possibly giving Helium Hotspot Help a follow if you find any of our content valuable. So let's move on to our next set of frequently asked questions. I'm kind of curious, how far does this radio frequency travel? How, like, what is the frequency? How far does it travel? Do you need a license for it?
Absolutely. And before I dive into that question, I do want to say this makes me feel like we're at that precipice, like when it went from pagers to cell phones, and people just held on dearly to their pagers, and that's like these people with 3G phones. It's comical. I'm like, it's not gonna continue to work, but you gotta adapt, and I feel like IoT, Web 3.0, and Helium is what adaptation looks like.
So are
But yeah,
you
let me
saying that you're not giving up your flip phone just yet?
No, I tell you what, I look forward to 5G services. I'm not a flip phone fanatic, rest assured. Rest assured. But no, let's break down how far does the Helium network reach and does it use radio frequency? So Helium's long PHY technology is the combination of Helium blockchain and LoRaWAN wireless protocol. So this uses sub GHz radio frequency. Depending on conditions, Helium long PHY can reach miles and even connect devices that are inside buildings, unlike GPS or cellular signals. So it's definitely next level in its ability to communicate, superior to GPS and cellular.
Okay. So now that we got the frequency established and the radio range, how do these hotspots earn money? Like, how does this even work? People always ask me, like, okay, cool, you're setting up these hotspots, but how do they actually, that's the number one question. How does this make you money?
But yes. For those of us that follow us, hopefully on Instagram, we do like to give lots of updates on minor installs at Helium Hotspot Help. But you earn them by mining, and we show people how to get their own miner and how to do this, how to begin this process by setting up miners, because hotspot owners are the people and the only people that earn HNT tokens that are unique to the Helium blockchain. So in order to mine Helium, you must have a Helium hotspot. So something that we love doing, I know Jake would agree with me as well.
Yeah, so you're saying by these hotspots mine by they put out a radio frequency and then they mine HNT tokens, helium. How much do they typically earn?
Ah, there's a lot of variables involved in that, as we've learned on our journey. But hotspots earn their HNT by providing wireless coverage and transferring their data from nearby devices. The more data transferred, the larger the reward. So in a more simplified version, if you're in an area that has a lot of smart devices or devices that operate on the IoT or Internet of Things, like sensors and a lot of smart technology on farm equipment, hospital equipment, there'll be a lot more data transferred, and the more data that's being transferred is likely to ping off of your network. Therefore, you'll be getting higher rewards. And we can testify. We've seen hotspots get absolutely absurd rewards, and it's incredible, and they're just in prime locations with an optimized setup. So there's a lot of
Right.
variables to that. I think it's very subjective.
Yeah, it is. Also, too, there's a lot of variables and things that constantly change. Like month you might be in an area that have a lot of IoT sensors, and the next month they're not gone? Is that because the seasons change? Is that just because a certain business shut down and people aren't in the area? Or, there's a slew of variables that go into this. So, one other question I've been getting to, because we live in sort of a rural area, can you expect decent rewards from a hotspot in a rural area, or is this like a city kind of dense sensor type of deployment, or ideal deployment, I guess is a better phrase?
So I mean that's a great question, and I mean once again, there's a lot of variables that go into place. We are in a rural area to some extent ourselves, and have had some of that battle. Um, let me I would say it's best to have at least one or two other hotspots within radio range, and ideally six packs. So when you want to build them in six packs, because in order for a complete data packet and the entire communication is fastest and can be operated fastest if it can ping as a challenger, a validator, a witness, and so on. So as you guys get into this journey, we will break that down more for you later on. But pretty much, if you have at least two other hotspots within radio range of you, oh, so that you can participate in proof of coverage challenges to earn HNT rewards at a higher rate. If you are the only hotspot in your area, you can still earn HNT if your devices use your hotspot by initiating the challenges. HNT is distributed based on these economics. So there, my apologies for the extra acoustics in the background. I have some excited wolves. I definitely, Jake, why don't you take it away? I'm going to mute myself so we can get some resolution here.
No problem there, Al. We love animals here at H3. So here's something I wanted to show you guys earlier. This is what I was talking about last week. This is our video over here on YouTube, Helium Hotspot Help. This is podcast number 1. So you can see right here, when we made this video 7 days ago, we were at 592,491 hotspots. So we were 8,000 or 7,500 short of 600K. And where are we at today? Well, we are right here at the 612,000 hotspot range. So we've gained over 20,000 hotspots in the last 7 days. So this is pretty amazing. This is really exciting that the network's growing this fast. We definitely need proof of coverage. I don't know, Al, can you speak from your experience? How has it been setting these hotspots up? Like, how's the journey been from the very first one you set up to the 20th one you've deployed?
If I had to pick one word, I would say fun. But journey would be a great description for it. It's been a learning process. It's been a lot of fun. It definitely wasn't as easy as I anticipated as a sort of plug and play. There's a lot more specifications and customizations you can make that can increase your potential, and you honestly, you almost never know if it could be better, so you find yourself tinkering with a lot of different variants and possibilities trying to optimize. So it's been fun, and getting more and more running, and you start getting a rhythm, you start understanding fleets, you start understanding a lot more about the network and how to optimize your placement. And to be all honest, to give people a sneak preview, the CBRS and 5G world is pretty epic as well. So I'm excited to break that down. But that's for a later time. We're talking Helium specific and hotspot.
Before we leave that topic real quick, what's one word advice you could give for somebody deploying their very first hotspot? What's that one pro tip that you're like, man, I wish I would have known that from the very beginning?
The blockchain is slower than you would anticipate at first. Sometimes I think there was a lot of times I tried to fix create a solution to something that wasn't a problem. I was just impatient and have instant gratification issues. It takes a while for things to sync. It takes a while for things to relay. Do your homework. Make sure you know what you're doing, but also trust yourself. If you did it right, give it some time. I mean, I think waiting up to 72, even 96 hours was was what was needed for it to kick in, and that was all. And it was, without knowing that, you always felt like you were doing something wrong as a newbie in the space.
Absolutely. That's really great advice. And two, if you're setting up your first hotspot in kind of a rural area and there's no other hotspots around, it may take a while for your hotspot to sync onto the blockchain too. So for those of you that are in areas where there's just not any other hotspots really, just be patient or get yourself on hands on another hotspot, another couple, and start deploying them in your area is the best word of advice that I would like to add on to that. So all right, guys, thanks again for stopping by for H3's episode number 2, frequently asked questions. We really appreciate you guys stopping by. And remember, if you're watching this, you can find our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all of the other podcasting platforms like Spotify. And you can anticipate to see us at least once a week. We're going to try to put out 2 podcasts a week, but as of now, we're really swamped. We have a huge project launching our website, and this is going to be a spot for all things helium. So again, guys, we really appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell as well. So with that being said, we'll see you guys next week.